It's fine, fine. We'll still be able to capture you.
Vince, if I do that, sure. This is the machinery. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I was always taught by the presiding officers that you must wake up with a smile, despite what the challenges of the day might be. How you wake up, even if you would have had nightmares the previous night, but a smile is the most important thing that you can ever donate to the world and bring happiness. So thank you very much for responding to our invitation to spend some time with the presiding officers to reflect on the state of readiness for the State of the Province address, and perhaps have a conversation with you around areas relating to the State of the Province address. We have in our midst other colleagues from the provincial communications team, because what we have done, we have constituted also a team of communicators so that we are able to provide support to you during the activities that we are planning. However, it was just part of the welcome. Let me take this opportunity to introduce to you the presiding officers as well as executive management of the Free State Legislature. We have in our midst the Speaker of the Legislature, Ndate Mxolisi Dukwane. We have next to him the Deputy Speaker, who we normally refer to as vibrant, youthful and energetic. Menolita Ndungane. We will be joined later by the Chair of Chairs, Ndate Meku. We have also the Acting Secretary, who in the language that we normally use is the head of the institution and the accounting officer, Mekoni Sifo. And we have next to her the Chief Financial Officer, Ndate Quintin Yuho. And then we've got the Deputy Secretary, Ndate Steve Mabalane. We also have Ndate Marweli Seruwe, who is our Director for Strategy and Planning. And we have the team from the Office of the Speaker, Ndate Asive, Ntate Mofokeng and Ntate Mokhosi. And if there's anybody that I've left out, or on the most capable team that most of you will be working with throughout the state of the province, our technical team, Tabo. So all of the guys, but we will make that announcement at the end. Without any further waste of time, or for those that don't know me, my name is Jonginda Kana. I'm designated to be a conveyor belt between yourselves and the presiding officers. I'll be chairing today, and thank you very much. Let me not waste a lot of time and request the what happened to my program now. That it have. Yeah, without any waste of time, I will request the Honorable Speaker to come to the podium and speak to us and provide umkhombandlela as it normally is reflected.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Deputy Speaker of the Legislature, Mamundungani, the Chair of Chairs, Ndate Thabo Meko, who will be joining us very soon, the Acting Secretary and the management, media, members of the media, fellow citizens of the Free State, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We have convened this briefing to formally announce the official opening of the Free State Legislature for the 2026-2027 financial year, which will take place on Friday, the 20th February this year at 10 o'clock at the Old Grey Sports Ground in Bloemfontein. This extraordinary sitting has been summoned by the Premier of the Free State, Honorable Makwin Letsoa Mataye, in accordance with Section 110, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, supplemented by Rule 31 of the Standing Rules and Orders of the Free State Legislature. In compliance with these constitutional and procedural provisions, the legislature is invoked Rule 11 to convene the plenary of the House for the official opening. The sitting will provide a platform for the Premier to deliver the State of the Province address, commonly known as Sopa. The summoning of the legislature in this manner is not ceremonial formality. It is a direct expression of constitutional democracy in action. Our Constitution establishes a clear separation of powers, yet it equally demands cooperative governance and accountability. The executive governs, but it does not under the oversight. It does that under the oversight of the legislature. The legislature represents the people, and it exists to ensure that governance is conducted lawfully, transparently, and in pursuit of public good. In this regard, the Free State Legislature stands as a guardian of democracy in our province. We are entrusted with three fundamental responsibilities: lawmaking, oversight over the executive, public participation. Through this function, we protect and advance democracy daily. The role of the Free State Legislature in advancing democracy is very important. It must not be taken lightly. This legislature is not merely a debating chamber. It is the constitutional embodiment of the will of the people of the Free State. Every question posed to the executive needs to be answered. Every committee oversight visit is critical. Every amendment to the legislation speaks to the needs of the people. Every public hearing convened needs to allow our people to be heard. These are instruments through which democracy breathes. Through oversight, we ensure that public resources are used for public benefit. Through lawmaking, we align our provincial legislation with constitutional principles and national imperatives. Through public participation, we ensure that the voices of our communities, the people, whether in Mangaung, Thabo Mofutshanyane, Lejweleputswa, Harib, or Fezile Dabi, are heard in the corridors of power. In this way, democracy is not abstract, but practical. It is practical, it is lived, and it is defended. The State of the Province address is one of the most important moments in the democratic calendar of the province. It is not a celebration, it is not a spectacle, it is a constitutional accountability platform. It is not a fashion parade, but it is actually a moment for the government to account to the people. Sopa enables the Premier to reflect on government performance for 2025-2026 financial year. It provides an outline of policy priorities, legislative programs, and service delivery commitments for 2026-2027 financial year. It sets the tone for governance in the year ahead. For members of the legislature, Sopa provides a measurable framework against which we will exercise oversight. For the media, it provides a benchmark to assess delivery against commitments. For the people of the province, it provides clarity on what government intends to do to improve their livelihoods. Sopa, or the State of the Province Address, is directly linked to the protection and advancement of constitutional rights. When the Premier outlines plans for healthcare services, this speaks to the right to access healthcare. When education priorities are presented, this speaks to the right to basic education. When infrastructure and economic initiatives are outlined, this speaks to the right to dignity and the progressive realization of socio-economic rights. The legislature will not treat these commitments as mere announcements. Though through our portfolio committees and plenary processes, we will interrogate them, track implementation, and demand measurable progress. In doing so, we protect the rights of our people. Democracy must translate into improved living conditions of the people. It must translate into jobs, safe communities, accessible clinics, functional schools, and reliable infrastructure, and above all, safety of our people. Sopa is therefore not only about policy, it is about livelihoods. Allow me to address a matter of significant public interest. This year, the Free State Legislature has reduced expenditure on the official opening and Sopa by over 25% compared to the previous year. This reduction is deliberate. It reflects our commitment to fiscal responsibility. We are actually aware that every rand spent on administration is a rand that could potentially be directed towards service delivery. In a province confronting economic pressure, unemployment, and service delivery challenges, we must lead by example. The reduction in spending demonstrates that constitutional obligations can be fulfilled without extravaganza. It affirms that accountability begins with us. The positive impact of this reduction is twofold. Firstly, it ensures that public funds are utilized prudently. Secondly, it strengthens public trust in democratic institutions. When citizens see their legislature exercising restraint and discipline, confidence in government is reinforced. The decision to hold the official opening at the Old Grey Sports Ground reflects our commitment to accessibility. Democracy must be visible. It must be accessible. It must belong to the people. We encourage residents of the Free State to follow proceedings through available platforms and to remain engaged throughout the year. The legislature does not operate in isolation. Our effectiveness depends on the participation and vigilance of the public. To you members of the media present here, your role is indispensable. You amplify information, you interrogate policy, you hold institutions accountable, and this is the role that we expect from you. Sopa will provide substance for analysis, scrutiny, and public debate. We welcome this, and we believe that it is actually the most important part in ensuring that our democracy becomes a lived reality, representing the needs of our people when they are well informed and when they understand that they are not taken for granted, when they are heard, and when people understand what is needed. And this is the role that you play clearly, and we appreciate that very much. Robust engagement strengthens democracy, and we must not tire. We must not tire from this. There will, of course, there will be problems where people will not appreciate being challenged, but you must not tire. Challenge them. Ask difficult questions and make sure that you represent the will of the people in the best possible way. As we approach the 20th of February, we do so with a clear understanding of our constitutional responsibilities. The official opening of the legislature and the delivery of the State of the Province address are not symbolic exercises. They are foundational democratic processes. The Free State Legislature remains committed to protecting constitutional democracy, advancing the rights of and livelihoods of our people, exercising vigilant oversight over the executive, ensuring responsible stewardship of public resources. We look forward to the Premier's address and to the robust legislative process that will follow. Above all, we reaffirm that this institution exists for one purpose: to serve the people of the province with integrity, accountability, and unwavering commitment to democratic principles. I thank you. Let me also point one important aspect here, that as the province of the Free State, we would really like to partner with you in ensuring that we reach out to our people in the most dynamic way, and also understanding the realities of our society. That our society is complex, is dynamic, is changing over time, and that needs a legislature that is responsive, that is able to keep up with the trend. And the most important way is for us to transform this institution and make sure that it is digital and it actually reaches out to many people. And we appreciate the role that you would be playing in helping us deliver on this one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We are going to request the Deputy Speaker to give the state of readiness. And thereafter, we will invite questions for issues that you may want us to reflect on. Let me also take this opportunity to recognize Dr. Honorable Jankelson, who is also the leader of the Democratic Alliance in the province. We've tried to ask him to come, but he modestly declined because he said, no, he's okay where he is. Please, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Ntate Jongi, the program director for today. Ladies and gentlemen, I will ride on the protocol that has already been observed by the speaker. Mine is to just give a state of readiness for the Sopa on the 20th. The event will be held on the 20th of February 2026, and the venue is the Old Grey Event Center, which is centered at 72 Park Road in Bloemfontein. The starting time for our event is exactly 8 o'clock sharp up to 4 o'clock. Now, the purpose of today's briefing in terms of state of readiness, it is to inform all our media houses and the public about safety, security, logistics, and protocol arrangements that have been prepared for the SOPA of 2026. And also to ensure a smooth coordination between our stakeholders, our media houses, and the institute, the legislature. And most importantly, it is to highlight compliance with legislative and municipal requirements. On the key event details, we have a number of plus minus 1,200 guests expected for the day. Out of that 1,200, we have invited 30 members of the provincial legislature. We have 6 NCOP permanent delegates that have been invited, 50 media representatives, respectively, plus minus 450 members of the staff, and that would include the security cluster. The maximum capacity for the venue at Old Grey is 5,000. So we expect that everybody will be well accommodated into that venue. The sitting type is that of a house, followed by a luncheon and performances after the official proceedings of the day. In terms of the media arrangements that have been made, accreditation is being issued at the legislature offices, and accreditation has started from the 17th and up to the 19th, from 8 o'clock to 7 o'clock on a daily basis. So you are welcome to come to our offices and get your accreditation. On the 20th of February, which is the day of the event, we would still have accreditation, and the accreditation point is Jackscape Parking, and it would only be open from 7 up to 9 o'clock on the day. We have broadcasting through our OB vents that will be allocated near the chamber entrance. And we have confirmed also the parliamentary channel, which is our channel 408 for the day. We also have a live streaming through our legislature Facebook page. We've also sourced a number of community radio stations. Our media liaison officers will also assist with directing the premier to the media briefing room. We have established a media briefing room whereby we will have all the interviews through that room. There is a Vox Center that has also been arranged, and it is within the precinct for the day. Allow me then to speak on our safety and security highlights for the day. We would like to alert our public and also our media that there would be road closures on the Park Road, the Elric Street, the Patif Avenue. Those roads would be closed from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock for the official parade procession. And after 10 o'clock, those roads would be open for public consumption. Emergency preparedness. Emergency assembly point is at the Old Grey Sport Club bowling field. We have fire extinguishers strategically placed. We have fully equipped EMS response teams in place. And there are certain items that would not be prohibited into the venue, and those are the general standard items that you know, such as your firearms, your ammunitions, your knives, sharp objects, explosive, tear gas, and pepper spray. In terms of security deployment, the numbers that we have deployed are as follows. We have 13 protection officers. We have 15 security officers. which are from the Department of Community Safety, and we also have 10 which have been provided by DISTIA, and 3 that have been also been provided by the Office of the Premier. There's SAPS that is responsible for all our VIP protection, also for crowd control and possible bomb sweeps, and any threats that may arise, which at this stage, I'm confident to say that there has been no threat risks that have been reported to us. In terms of the program for the day, sharply at 8 o'clock, our proceedings, our official proceedings begin with the arrival of guests and the members of parliament. At 9:20, we would have the first procession, which will be led by the Deputy Speaker, the Chief Whip, the NCOP delegates, opposition leaders, and MECs. At 9:25, we'll have the flag raising and the singing of the national anthem. At 9:20 would be the second procession for the day, which will be led by the Premier. At 9:55, we would have the third procession, which is led by the Speaker, the Secretary of the Legislature, Mekoni, the Acting Secretary, and the Free State Legislature Security. We also have live performances, which will be delivered by the SAP Brass Band. We've also invited the University of the Free State Choral Choir. We have Botshabelo, an opera singer that hails from Botshabelo, and those would be the performances for the day. Stakeholders that have been involved in the arrangement of the Sopa is our disaster management, emergency medical services, the SAPS, traffic management, fire and rescue services. I'm confident to stand here today and announce that we are standing at 90% to completion in terms of our state of readiness. We are expecting to receive all compliance certificates this afternoon, and the venue will be officially be handed over by the service provider to the legislature tomorrow morning. We will then, subsequent to that, have a dry run, which will be held mid-afternoon. And all relevant role players for that dry run will be at the venue at the time to prepare for the Sopa on Friday. And I think that's where our report stands in terms of state of readiness. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I then wish to invite the questions for clarity, further information, conversations. Normally we refer to them as conversations. And then I'll take 5 first questions. And then if there's more, I will take the second round. Any takers, please? Dade, please, you should come closer to the mic. It's 1. Oh, Anar Kereki, ha mutakala, 2 and then 3. Okay. 1, yeah, 1, 2, Jimmy, and then 3, yeah.
Good morning, Rorisana Petem from News SA. Okay, thank you. Ms. Rorisana Petem from News SA. Speaker, you spoke about the decrease of the expenditure by 25%. Maybe for someone that would want to know, in the previous year, how much money did you use? And then in this year, how much money would you be using, so that we can get a clear picture? Because some of the media houses, maybe, or some of our people at home, they don't know how much money did you use last year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jimmy?
Good morning.
Please stand and introduce yourself and the media you represent. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jimmy Mapohoshe from Central TV, also standing here as a chairperson of the Free State Community Media Forum. my few questions. Thank you, Speaker, and the team that has respected us in this gathering. 2025, 2026, the legislature tabled a budget of 317 million. And according to the mandate of all legislatures, the legislature is supposed to spend 30% of the media, community media, in all provinces. The question is, based on the budget that was allocated in 2025-2026, how much did the Free State Legislature spend on community media as part of development? I mean, this is a policy. And then last year, I have the speaker on record when he mentioned that there will be this year Golf Day. And as the media practitioners, we were hoping that we are going to share the cake. And as the speaker stands there, doesn't say anything about the Golf Day. Where did it vanish to? Speaker spoke about the partnership with the Free State community media. My question is, on the technical aspect, why the Free State media is not invited to those clusters of security where they are making decisions on where cameras will be and all those things and not. But at the same time, the speaker is emphasizing the issue of partnering. In this partnership, where do we partner? Where exactly are we part of the Free State Legislature? Because we are going to fight with the security guys when we arrive there. When we start putting our cameras, because we understand why are we putting them there. There's an issue of sound. We're using different sounds. And if our sound is not treated equally or given a fair then we have an issue. There's an issue in this province of drones, where we are asked to provide their license, the very same license that is costing us over 30,000 to have. We are not procured for that. You produce a license, but after producing the license, you are not being paid for that license. So you'll be told that no. And when you look into the procession when it happens, on the drone, we're showing the world what's happening. We are denied that opportunity. The speaker said we must ask those uncomfortable questions. It's a time to know who is procured as far as community media is concerned. When I've listened to the deputy speaker there, she mentioned that the legislature will be doing streaming. Was it not supposed to be giving to this community media that is struggling to grow because of non-support from our government and all that? Was it not supposed to be? How many media houses can we boldly stand there and say, we as the Free State Legislature, with this budget that we're having, we have supported this media houses, so that tomorrow we are able to hold them accountable to say, but you cannot repeat yourself. The last one, can we, every time when you ask someone from legislature to say, who is procured? That question is not, it has never been answered. Always, there would be a saying, SCM, we send the king, we send our things to SCM, and the SCM source. But there's these people that are always sourced. We don't know, is these people, are they contracted by SCM or what? Can we get clarity? This time around, moving forward, as the speaker mentioned, the partnership, can you just be clear and come out so that we know or no? Last year it was OFM, it was Central TV, it was all those things. We do advertising ourselves. Can we be given that opportunity? Mara ke a tshepa hore no re tla kgutla after the answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, leaders. My name is Tapelo from Rocklahood Online TV, the only media house that is from the township. My concern is from this event and the budget of this event, how is the township and the rural side of Kasi benefiting from this? Rural development, township development, how are we, Kokasi, going to benefit from this event? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? No, Sky Peter Bill.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tebogo Kotsi from Taxi Rank Media Agency. Mine is more, I've got only one comment and one question. Question number one is, has legislature actually looked into inviting potential investors to the Sopa? Because I take it that our province right now, we need to attract as many positive attention as best as possible. And if not, is legislature also open for us to actually assist and attract, because there are potential investors that wants to meet up with potential leaders in terms of investing into the province? That's my one question. And then my comment comes based on what the speaker said when it comes to media houses. And this is my plea to everyone in the room. Our province has been faced with so much negative stories that are coming out. I think it's time that we start telling a good story. Based on the fact that, as you can see around our main city in Mangaung, buildings are empty, unemployment is high, because why? We thrive on negative stories. But what we're not realizing is that the negative stories that we are telling is actually chasing investors away, it's chasing businesses away. So we need to find a way as media agencies to actually work hand in hand with government as best as possible, just to try and procure as many positive stories so that we're able to attract. Due to the fact that, and I'm talking this based on experience, yes, we say the negative things about certain programs, but what we don't realize is that we ended up losing more than 20 million rand investment that came from private sector during period Damakufe. So it's something that I'm going to plead to legislature and the leadership to say, tomorrow in your state of the province, also to all the opposition parties also that are in the room, as much as we are gearing up for local elections and all that, let's also try to thrive, to improve, so that we have opportunities in the township where there's proper investment and job creation can happen. Because right now, the world is going through a digital space, and there's money in the digital space to everybody in here. So legislature, if you can also reach out to to also the departments to actually start working hand in hand with media houses. Kapa ke re yang bagaetsho. Ke a leboga.
Thank you very much, Ntate Kotsi. Honorable Speaker.
Earlier on, when I came to this room, I was not happy with the dress code. Media mo, because I felt that it was deliberate and it was just putting salt in the open wound. And then he is also the one who has come with too many questions. And I indicated whilst I stood here and told you that you must ask difficult questions. But questions that came to him will not be responded to by me because of the war that he has declared outside here. Yabona kubuhlungu uba likhosi ubuza umbuzo umuntu ofake i-t-shirt yeBakhania usokola kangaka kubhlungu kodwa ke sizawuzama because uprogram director yena we up the bed and kunzima so uyayibona iconflict elapha. Last year we spent almost 4.5 million, and this year we hope that after everything will be paid, we will not be more than 3.5, but we're looking at 3.3 million. And we want to reduce this more and more, using technology more to ensure that we reach out to people. There's a very interesting question that you say is never answered. Fortunately, the program director is in that space. He would respond to that, and the officials, especially with regard to the details in who is procured, and that should be answered. With some of the issues that are coming here, one believes that should actually have been dealt with even before we're here. Issues around the drone, issues around the security, where you want to put whatever, so that these are not supposed to come to the media briefing as questions, but these are more to deal with how we should be dealing with the preparations. So I hope that this matter would be attended to as we're dealing with this, so that you're able to accord the media the respect in terms of where they would want to be, but also respecting protocols that are also there, so that we do not encroach in one another's space. So I will not venture to even attempt to answer how this should be dealt with, but I believe that these are matters, as you engage with as a stakeholders engaging with the institution, should actually be resolved even before the hosting of this kind of event, so that we know when we talk about collaboration, we mean it, because we are acting the way we should be acting, advised, of course, by those who are working on these issues. So that I mean, standing here and making promises is not what I'm going to do. But Babu Jongi and the others will respond to those. The issue of the potential investors, have we invited those? We are mindful of our space. This is the space that government should actually be more active in, and I think the Premier and the executive has been hard at work in trying to ensure that we have investors in the province, and they would actually make such pronouncements as time comes. And I believe this would be more relevant to be responded to by the Premier when the Premier does the post Sopa, media briefing. So that I will leave to the Premier, that one, because I don't want to be speaking on behalf of the Premier. I don't have that authority. We acted out of, it was not our space. As the institution, when we had the golf day the last time, we acted because we thought it was a good idea. We were riding on the presidential golf day, which is actually a more of a fundraising event for good causes, that the president would use leverage on the opportunity to ensure that he gives to those who are needy. And I think the Premier is quite interested in starting the Premier Golf Day. And we think because of a number of things this year in preparation for this Sopa, it has been a very hectic for the Premier, for all of us, and we did not have time to plan for the golf day. It should not be the legislature golf day. It should be the Premier's golf day, because this is the day belonging to the Premier, and it should not be competed with any other thing. It's the Premier's day. We should also accord the Premier the opportunity to make sure that so we did not want also to do that. It will be the Premier who would be using that and using the proceed of such an event for purposes that are closer to her heart. So the Premier for sure would take this to heart. The other important thing that we have noticed as you talk about these processes, the Premier has over a very long time for now, the Premier has actually taken to heart the issues that are affecting the scourge of violence against women and children. And this is one area that is very close to the heart of the Premier. And she has been there, thick of things. And I believe part of the interest will be to raise funds to ensure that we develop more in terms of ensuring that the victims of this violence are also taken care of. So I think this matter would come to light in the next Sopa. The Premier for sure would have this kind of an activity. Well prepared. We don't just hold a golf day and just for the sake of holding it. You must prepare for it. As I said, you would have seen there's been a number of things, the mahotlas, so many things have happened this year, not giving us enough time to really plan the event of this nature. We wouldn't want just this to be a failure. We want it to be a success and supporting the Premier in hosting it. The details of the partnering, as I said, these are some of the details that we need to have an engagement, thorough engagement, and making sure that we are clear in what we want to achieve out of this partnership, so that we just not get into partnership with media for the sake of having it. It must actually be beneficial to the institution, to the media, but most importantly to the people. So those are the details that must be worked out, not today in the press briefing, before, long time. There must be some work that is done. With regard to the benefits accruing to our townships, whilst we want to have every event having a meaningful impact to the township, we must also be mindful of these events and how they help communities. Last time, because we were right in the township, we believe that it became more because there were people who were able to sell things, etc. But that is not sustainable. That is not what we would like to have. We would like to have a sustainable program that empowers our people, but also we would like to have a situation where those who were previously disadvantaged are not only fighting to get into the table, but they create the table themselves and they determine what is to be served in the table. Every rand spent is also from our own communities when we are not producing anything, is also something that we're losing our leverage as a people. And these are some of the things that we need to engage on, and making sure that when we talk about true empowerment, we speak about, as people tend to speak about loosely about township economy, and I've been asking myself, what exactly do we understand by the term township economy, and how is it's actually demonstrable on the ground when we do not also build the infrastructure that allows for such to happen. Many of these would be, will not be realizable if our own streets, if our own roads are not conducive. And that is the work that government is actually interested in, making sure that they attend to such and make sure that there is movement, easy movement of goods and services, and allowing our own people to actually participate in the bigger scheme of economy. So those are the issues that the Premier would venture into dealing with, and the government will deal with. Our part is to monitor the implementation of all the plans that they have and what they want to achieve, and on behalf of the people, attend to these issues and ask for accountability. And this is how we would be able to deal with some of the issues. The most important thing, you know, that we always avoid looking at the stories that are very important to us. One important story that I think we especially in part of our history, we focus more on the 1956 women, as the president was speaking on the March 1956 March of Women. But there is an important march that came before. That is the 1913 march. This is a march that women from Jagersfontein, from Wynberg, from Vryhoek in Bloemfontein, when they were not allowed, you know, to move into it was in the Free State, only in the Free State, where Orange Free State then, where women were supposed to carry passes to get into town. And our women, starting from 1913 in Vryhoek, you know, marched and demanded that this must be abolished, and this became a prelude to the 1956 march and many other things that happened after that. So I'm just saying, Bloemfontein, Free State, has a rich history, and we would want to use this rich history to build on this and use this kind of history, both white and black, in making sure that we tell a good story of the resilience of our people, in making sure that the spirit of freedom that cries in every race, in every people, is never diminished by greed, by corruption, and by things that actually have affected many of our communities as we try to build a better society. So telling a good story is very important, but it demands all of us being responsible, all of us. It starts with every individual, how you contribute in making a society better. What role do you play as a person in ensuring that you contribute positively in our society? But many of us have actually, because of what also our system of education has taught us, to be too competitive, we are shunning away from being collaborative and working together. And we think that as an individual we can succeed. And this is a problem that is facing us. So I hope that we will be able, all of us, we will be able to contribute in our little way in making sure that we build a better province, a better society. And one thing that we can do, as this is affecting, you would see many of our women, especially what the Premier has gone through in dealing with the scourge of violence against women. And at the time, you have a premier also as a woman who's exposed to all these realities, and without also looking at her health as a person. When you are confronted with every day, you can imagine when the premier has to deal with bodies of women that are found killed every day, what that does to the premier and what it does to any person for that matter. So we need to hold hands and make sure that we deal with these things and make sure that our children, our women are safe. And it starts with all of us, what we do and how we contribute to that. At the moment, what is happening in our society, and this is what is going on, a woman will be raped or a woman will be killed and all those things. The best way we can do, we're taking photos and videos and, you know, because we're going for likes and all those things instead of standing up and making sure that we avoid these kind of losses that we see. I hope some of the questions that I avoided answering was deliberate because they're coming from Ubawuchi.
Thank you very much. Let me invite the accounting officer, Mekoni, to give some. If some are not covered, I will also come, especially for issues around the media.
Yes, thank you, Program Director, and let me greet the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Junkelson, and other honorable distinguished guests that are here in the media. Actually, the Speaker has covered almost everything. So all that I wanted to confirm is that we have appointed 5 community radio stations as well as Lesedi. As to which are those, I do not have that full information as yet, as that information, that approval was done just yesterday, and the supply chain is the one that will provide us with that report. However, we do not have a problem providing that information at a later stage, but for now I can't confirm who is actually appointed. And I think that is all that I can say for now. Thank you.
Perhaps also to do a little reflection on the issues that were raised by one of our colleagues. We are governed by the Financial Management Act of Parliament and provincial legislatures, which sets out regulations on how procurement is done in the legislature. Now, as head of communications and marketing in the institution, using those pieces of legislation to ensure accountability and transparency in all what we do. Yes, on the basis of each and every event that we host, we sit with the team and do a wish list of media and communication support that is required to ensure that that event is communicated efficiently and professionally. Now, what then happens is that we submit our wish list. This is correct in that regime. We submit our wish list to SCM. And SCM has an obligation to ensure that in the wish list of the services that we require, they then source service providers who are compliant as prescribed by pieces of legislation that governs us all. Now, one of the issues that I have continuously raised with some of you, both individually and collectively, is that you see what happens, go Madlanga Commission and so on and so forth. I cannot go to SCM and say you are going to appoint Jongi Media and Associates. I cannot do that. So I think colleagues should also be mindful that even if I love you with all my heart, but I cannot bend the rules simply because you shout the loudest. Number two, one of the biggest challenges that I've been reporting also to the presiding officers and the executive management, and we have had a number of challenges with respect to that, is compliance issues. We often find some of the people that would be preferred or that would be approached by SCM, whenever they provide their details, when quotations are sought or any related information that requires procurement, we often find those people are not compliant. And compliance issue in government, it's a non-negotiable. Because we also, as management of the institution, have to account on the things that we do. We have, on a number of occasions, encouraged our colleagues when they come to discuss these matters. Some very painful, Honorable Deputy Speaker and CEO and Speaker, that you feel they indeed deserve to be empowered. But I am disempowered because they disempower me because of lack of compliance over what legislation prescribes for us to comply with all those things. We have some, for an example, I have encouraged a CFO to say, you often have 5 individuals who are photographers and 5 newspapers that sometimes I have not seen them on the streets, or I cannot come and motivate to the presiding officers that there is a newspaper that has approached. I haven't seen it, though. There are certain things that you have to provide as evidence to empower us to have knowledge of the spread of your newspaper. And for an example, there are those that are biased in favor of the rural and the townships, like people have been communicating. But it is agonizingly painful when we have to explain to our colleagues these challenges. I've often, for an example, suggested that if you have an organization of media and you know that there are a number of services that you provide, why don't you have an approach the legislature and say, with our Free State Media Association, we provide these services, and so on and so forth and so forth, like we did in the past with the taxi associations. But also there are other underlying problems in that respect. We want taxi operators in Mangau, in Machabeng, they don't have permits. We give the Santaco chapter of Machabeng, we pay them, the money does not go to operators. So we ourselves, we need to reflect on how we need to operate. Thank you very much. I just wanted to answer that briefly, but it does not close doors for our continued engagement to find a solution to the problems that we are faced with as our key stakeholders. Another round? Or is there anything that a CFO? Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry, I forgot the throne.
No, thank you very much, Program Director, Mr. Ndakana, and greetings to the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Dr. Jankelson.
and members of the executive, as well as the distinguished guests from the media community. The question with regard to the drone filming, it's just unfortunate that we should just simply state it as it stands. The legislature, like Parliament, it's a national key point installation. And we happen to know that the legislature as an establishment is governed by the National Key Points Act, Act 102 of 1980. Fortunately, in a democratic space, we have progressed. We now have the Critical Infrastructure Protections Act, Act number 8 of 2019, and which came into operation in April 2022. It protects this critical infrastructure assets like the Free State Legislature. Unfortunately, in our key activities, Mr. Jimmy, this act, which we acronym of SEPA, does not override the South African Civil Aviation Authority license that you have mentioned. Unfortunately, you can get a license for recreational or commercial purposes if granted by the South African Civil Aviation Authority. But there are specific pieces of legislation that prohibits how that drone can be used. Surely you would also know that a drone cannot be used at a particular level of 50 meters. And unfortunately, where it involves the public representatives, you might find it very difficult for us to cross over the SEPA in order to allow what you wanted to do. Unfortunately, even if you want to go and film the Fort Ratsal, you will still have to go through that particular process of application. But in most instances, it's just unfortunate that you might not get permission to do that, because the Free State Legislature has been declared as one of the critical infrastructure assets. I think that it simply states that there's no replacement for safety in that, Jimmy. It's just unfortunate it follows that particular route. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Can we have another round of questions? Nonal Ntatana Batleu, Peter, or let me start Ntate. Ke batla ba soka ba ipheta pele. Or am I? Okay, then you'll follow number 2 and then number 3. Yes, sir, please.
Good morning, Ishmael Mudiba from the SABC. Just looking back at the last year's State of the Province address, Premier spoke about a number of issues. What is it that we can be told with regard to the achievements that were made? Looking back, I'm looking at there are a lot of figures that were bandied about last year. For instance, there was 1.9 billion that was invested for construction and upgrading and maintenance of roads. How much has been used or utilized in that aspect, and what is the progress? There's also the funding of the VAL SEZ, a feasibility study that was supposed to be conducted to establish for the establishment of that VAL SEZ between the Free State and Gauteng. And also, there's also the issue of unemployment in the province. When we look back last year, or when we look back at 2024, the unemployment rate was standing at 17.9 at the fourth quarter of 2024. So where are we as the province in terms of job creation and ensuring that we alleviate some of the challenges that have been there that the Premier spoke about last year? Just as a feedback from last year, from this speech when was presented to where we are at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Ntate Mdiba.
Yes, Rodishan Rapitem from News SA. I have a question to the Speaker and also the legislature members. Obviously, the legislature has done the oversight. What are the key issues that you have encountered, and how are you going to make sure that we them accountable, or maybe you address such issues? The second question is that when we look this year, we are celebrating 50 years of youth since the 1976. Maybe have you maybe managed to invite or have the legislature has maybe have something for the youth of the Free State since we are celebrating the 50 years? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jimmy?
I'm sorry, Speaker. Okay, finally today, so it's okay, Speaker. And may the best one show off. I feel like some of the questions were not answered. I said when I started, I said, this is a mandate. It's a policy. As far as legislature is concerned, you guys are the policy makers. You also are policy, you hold others to implement policies that are in place. Now, here is the policy that says as far as community media is concerned, you are, as a legislature, not only Free State, but the entire legislatures in the country are expected to spend 30% in a community media. Now, Free State legislature operated with 317 million. When you do your calculations on 30%, we're talking at least about 1.9 million, 1.06 million. That is supposed to be spent on these individuals who will then be able to create some jobs, because our industry requires a lot of young people to work with. I haven't got an answer to that, to say, last year, can we at least get the clarity to say this was spent? As you hold others accountable, we're also doing the same. And then the speaker says, last year, the spend was plus minus 4 point something million for Sopa. This year, it has toned down to 3.3 million. The question is, 30% of these individuals who are covering this event now, can we be specific enough to say, the acting secretary goes there and says, we have procured 5 community radio stations and Lesedi FM. As the community, as the acting speaker said, Lesedi FM, can we know who are these community radio stations? Can we name them now? So that we are able to say NCRF, but this is what has happened. We cannot tomorrow and be speaking about numbers, not only being specific.
Yeah.
And then the question was, I plead to this house. When we have this kind of gatherings, can we have SCM people here? So that we're not pushing the ball and no one is taking the ownership to say, but everybody can say we are not compliant. Everybody can say that. But have you proved it? How many have you invited? Because right now, if I can ask her now, how many media houses were invited to participate in this? There is as I was listening to the acting secretary mentioned that community radio stations. Nothing said about print media, online media. Nothing has been said about digital. Right now we are live. And Recover Friday will be live. But how many have we made sure as a legislature? We can sit down and say, Mara, 3 of them we procured, or 2 of them. So that next year we are able to say, you did this last year, can we proceed in this one? Can you just get clarity on this, on the last one? The last one, legislature, I don't know, right now the spend in Datimarwil, this 30%, yeah, 317, that you are expected to do as part of your report. You are now procuring equipment, media, the cameras and other things and so forth. Is it not going to cause a query to command this guy, Auditor General, to say you can't procure the cameras, yet how could you procure the development, as far as the institution is concerned, yet this media, can you give us the shape on it? So that I can understand, because how do I code you? How do I code you? Because now I'm a community media. When you are government, you are institution on your own.
Thank you. I'll see. Hey, the voice of women must be heard. And then after Ritako Pandate Patrick, and then Hosi. Yeah, please go ahead.
Greetings, I am Buntle Segui from Tower FM. May I please ask if there are any measures that will be implemented in terms of economic growth and also in terms of tackling the continuation of the outbreak of foot and mouth? Thank you.
Thank you. Repeat. Come, Robatla Obo.
Oh.
I can write that problem.
Yeah. It's Patrick Solo from Free State FM. Nadejongi, as you have just mentioned on Nalo, and I will always like compliance. Let's not change the goalpost, because you and I have been communicating quite recently, and I did ask you, I think this week or last week, what's going on, because we have had 1 or 2 platforms where we discussed a Sopa and the build up to it. So what you said, Mohono, you said, Pet, I can't say anything more because of the Madlanga and everything, but I can only advise you to make sure that you're compliant, of which I did. I called those ladies because I think that point was very important, so that I mustn't sit there and expect things to happen and things don't happen. And I called them, and they advised me accordingly to say, no, you can, everything is okay, you are complying. But up until now, I'm still waiting. And you asked me, did they call you? And Gege also called me now, asked me now, did they call you? I'm still expecting a call, because I know what Free State FM is able to do. Because normally I don't like blowing a horn, but I know what we're capable of doing. And we're supporting government, we're supporting legislature, we're supporting political organizations, the ANC, and Tate would agree with me, Tate Joroy Jengelson. We work so hard, we spend money, but nobody cares about us. And people sitting here, these media houses, they go all out. I hear people talking about a community radio station. I'm happy with it, because I'm one of the founders. I started Motewa FM. I was at the forefront. So I love community radio. But when you overlook the platform, digitally, because we upgraded probably none others, and a lot of people sitting here, from community radio to digital platform. And we try so hard. So please, it's time to rearrange your things, and please advise supply chain, because you can only advise them to say, but this media and that media, please make it, as long as they comply. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Seems like today it's gonna be preaching day. Mine is, I'm gonna go back to state of readiness. Speaker, if tomorrow, it's a more of a suggestion to say tomorrow when we have a dry run, if maybe the comms department can actually share most of the things that can be shared with media houses on digital spaces, especially social media and all that, and implement social media plans. But I want to make a comment to my fellow colleagues in this room, and I'm going to plead with you guys again. We came here for a briefing for the state of the province, the readiness. But it seems like we are more frustrated with procurement issues, and we need to select which platforms, because some of the things is based on time. Also on us, and I'm not gonna say me, I'm gonna say us. We need to get our house in order, to be honest. I know Jimmy's gonna disagree with what I'm saying, but all I'm gonna say to you, go, let's get our house in order so that we have certain communication. Let this be a separate meeting and focus what we need to do. Because certain things, when it comes to media and all that, it's all about time. So in that situation, there's lots of frustrations that needs certain communication on the side. But if we can, and I'm gonna plead with you guys, like I said, we need to tell a story about our province. Let's just focus on what we need to do. But Jimmy, don't worry. You are there.
Yes, because okay, no, I won't respond to that. I'm conflicted.
No. This is expected to happen when people are really frustrated. We will not, as I said, if we are true to what we say, we must act accordingly, and therefore, in making sure that we respond to issues directly at issues and engage on this matter, we would plead with you that let's have on Tuesday at 9 o'clock in this facility all those who are interested in getting all these issues addressed and all the details and everything, so that we don't cloud the Sopa with all these other issues. These are issues that need to be attended. So we would have every information, all the information, and respond to some of the issues. Because I hear Jimmy speaking about 30%. I'm seated there, I'm asking myself, the police which Jimmy Tetanga 30%. I mean, you can't have a legislature spending 30% of its allocation. It's highly impossible on media and all these things. So we would actually outline everything so that we are clear what we're talking about, and ensure that we do not have this misunderstanding in the future and respond to these issues. The other thing is, as we were saying, colleagues, the SCM was busy dealing with these matters. And sometimes it's procedural that you communicate with those people that you've got to communicate with them. Those who have been appointed will be communicated to. And I don't know if it is advisable to talk about who is appointed, etc., when this detail was finalized yesterday. But if you allow me, just to ensure that there's nothing that we are hiding, and probably some of these people have not received that communication, etc. What the administration is assuring us is our central news. These are people that have been appointed. Central News, Free State Sun, News Alive, Journal News, Exhibit IT, C Squared, and there is the other that was also mentioned, the seventh one. What is that? Huh? Yeah, those were the issues. So we will then probably also engage on some of the things that are making you very uncomfortable and unhappy. And what is it that you need to have resolved and attended to make sure that you participate in a manner that helps you grow also in this. As I was saying, you don't need to you need to create your own table, and then and this is what we need to do. With regard to the achievements, look, this is a pre-Sopa media briefing. We can't actually preempt what the Premier is going to say, and also take issues. What Premier is going to outline will be, among others, will be to respond. The Premier would outline the issues that they have dealt with, the achievements in what she would have said last time, and then what the government wants to do moving forward, and what they are doing in dealing with the challenges that are facing us, including what we have in agriculture that is affecting us all, and these are matters that are also very critical and very important for accountability. And our committees, portfolio committees are dealing with these matters and will be dealing with these matters, trying to get as much information and what the government is doing to attend to all these issues. Let me make an example. In Natal, for instance, they used to deal with the, and in the Western Cape, especially in the Western Cape, to deal with the foot and mouth disease spreading. They were able to engage and use farmers and engage with farming communities and making sure, for instance, when trucks and everything were coming, they would make sure that they spray, making sure that these trucks do not bring what is not needed in this, on the farms and as they move out. So there are many measures that are taken care of. But you come to many of our stock that is, cattle that are roaming around in our townships. And there's no control in the movement. And that is where we need to have our own communities taking part, and those who are affected taking part in making sure that there is no spread that is caused by the movement that is allowed to happen throughout and spreading this. So there is a lot of work that has to happen, but it is not only government that has to do that. Even our communities need to play a role. And this is something that I think the Premier would emphasize and speak about. But as I say, I will not venture, to really preempt what the Premier is going to say. As we are doing today, we normally have the post-Sopa briefing. And I have indicated to the team that this is supposed to be the Premier's activity, where the Premier post-Sopa, the Premier is able to respond to all these issues that are coming, and then you'll be dealing with. There's no need for the Speaker to be in attendance of the post-Sopa briefing. The Premier is capable of dealing with that, and the Premier will be attending to this post-Sopa alone without the Speaker. And I hope the media, because you will not think that I'm snubbing that. The Premier is not here today. This is a pre-briefing. It's not because the Premier is snubbing this, but it's understanding that this is the legislature speaking to you about the state of readiness in preparing the SOPA. The Premier will then address you and respond to questions in relation to what she would have said and what she would have committed and what you will then take from past years and ask these questions. So those are the differences. And I'm just asking you to know that this one is a pre-SOPA media briefing that deals mainly with preparations for the SOPA. And post-briefing, post-media briefing will deal with all the detailed questions that you have for the Premier. Yeah, we will communicate. That's the debate at 10 o'clock. Yes, yes. And let's get, we must get a resolution. We can't just say we can't. The sitting is at 10, it ends at what time?
Can communicate the time.
We will certainly have the meeting on Tuesday. Whether it's going to be in the morning or it will be in the afternoon, but it will certainly take place on Tuesday. So I was just saying to the administration that we should find a solution to problems. We should not be problems ourselves. So I think there are questions. Most of the questions here are actually an indication of something that is not good, something that is sick. And I think that that is why we're suggesting that we should have this meeting and deal with this matter. But in as far as the preparations for the Sopa are concerned, I think we're quite clear, and there were not many questions relating to that. And with regard to issues that are talking about the work that should be done by government and us holding them and accounting and all those things, as I'm saying, we would also be able, as committees, would also be briefing media in terms of the work that they would have done. They would be responding to all these challenges, what they've done, how they're holding the executive. One failure, one challenge that we have as this institution last year, it has been our inability to enforce the rules of the legislature, especially with regard to members of the executive committee who are unable and who have failed to respond to questions posed to them by members of the legislature, which is an instrument that is useful in holding the executive accountable. So we are not going to erode the accountability ecosystem of the institution. And what we have done, we're looking at making sure that we've got our rules improved to make sure that we hold the executive accountable. And those questions that are not answered, as we have said, there are many questions that have come from members that have not been responded to. And what we're going to make sure is that all members of the executive who have not responded to these questions would actually be taken through the processes that are there in terms of the rules, and will then also be expected to respond to the same questions. And there will be some consequences for those who have not responded to questions and who have failed to, whilst given enough time, who have failed to do that. We are not going to tolerate any lack in this regard, and make sure that all members of the executive account and respond to questions that are posed to them on time. And we would also introduce a process where the Premier would have a day where the Premier would come, as the President does, and respond to questions that would be asked to her. And that would be the day where there would be question and answer to the Premier. And that will happen during this legislative work. So those are some of the issues that would help with accountability. And as I say, that we do not do that as much as we would have wanted to do. And this is one thing that members have raised, and we're correcting it, and this would come out very, very sharply. The second thing that we have not done to our satisfaction is with regard to petitions. Members of our communities, as I say, I always say, the legislature is the body, is an institution that is elected by the people. The executive is not elected. The legislature is elected. It represents the people. It actually becomes the bridge between the people and the executive. The Executive Council, the Premier is appointed, is elected in the House, and the Premier appoints the members of the Executive Council. And they have a particular responsibility to discharge. And these people are responsible for the executive authority of the province in ensuring that things happen. And they are accountable for all that they do to the legislature and to our people. And the legislature has to play that role effectively. And so far, in terms of making sure that we communicate properly to our communities, we have not done that as much as we should have done. And this this refers mainly to petitions. There are people who do not have money, but they would like issues that are affecting them, and they will raise these issues with the institution, and the institution needs to be to develop stronger processes that would make sure that they follow up all these petitions that they are dealing with, and make sure that they are resolved in a manner that brings justice to what our people would have raised. So that is another area that we regard as not so good on our part, besides the officials doing their best in making sure that they do the work. But in terms of doing follow-ups, making sure that everybody understands that this is not something that we are doing a favor for us, but it's actually something that needs to be dealt with. The other is public participation. Public participation is not calling people and getting people to be in a hall, and then you think that you actually are doing that. Public participation goes with information. We empower the people to be able to engage in a manner that is building, that is empowering, and that makes them to take charge of their lives and be able to ask relevant questions. You don't want to have a committee going to a committee of the legislature during public hearings for a particular bill, going to the community, and when members of the community is full, but members of the community, when they go there, they will be speaking about something unrelated to that is happening there, simply because they have not been empowered enough to engage the issues that the public hearing is all about. So we need to get that, and that has to do with information. But also we tend to use phrases like information is power. But the most important thing is what information. If you give me information that is very useful, but you give me at the time when that information is no longer useful, that information is not useful. So information, that relevant information given on time and packaged properly is actually the information that is powerful. Not only every information is powerful, but relevant information given on time and packaged properly is powerful. And this is what we want to do to make sure that our people participate fully, believing that they can make a difference, not only as carryovers, and then we get there, as you would see, when municipalities are having, IDPs, it's just, in many instances, just a matter of compliance. And so we don't want to just do this for compliance purposes. We have not done much in this field. So these are the issues that the legislature would be making sure that we correct for us to be able to deal with this. The other thing is also, we would have seen that there has been a lot of intervention in the municipalities by the Executive Council through the Department of COGTA. But the legislature has not played its part in terms of ensuring that processes that needed to be followed in the implementation of all these sections of interventions are actually followed, and also following, making sure that people are accountable and these matters are dealt with. So these are issues that are very important to our people, and making sure that government functions properly. And the legislature has to play its role in making sure that it represents the people. When we are elected as in the Free State, there's 30 members of the House. All of them, we've got the ANC, we've got the Democratic Alliance, we have Freedom Front Plus, Economic Freedom Fighters, we have MKP, we have ACT, is it Act? Yeah. So we've got almost about 6. They are elected to serve in the legislature, but we've got one Free State legislature. There's one Free State legislature consisting of 30 members. And these 30 members are coming from different political parties, and they are representing the members that have actually elected them. But you will see that there are many other people who have not voted for any of these parties. But these members must also be, be served. And therefore, the legislature, as members of the legislature coming from different parties, must also understand, and this is one thing that also we need to emphasize, that whilst also having this, there is a duty as a member of the legislature to represent the people of the Free State and not only your political party. And this is the work that we continue doing and having workshops to train our members to understand this, what it means. So as I say, it will be very important, and I want to profusely apologize for not responding to many of the issues that you have raised, which I believe that are actually very important questions that you have pointed out. But as I always say, there's always time and space for everything. Today it was not time for these issues, but you took advantage of the fact that we are here and these issues needed to be responded to. Had we given you space before this in dealing with these matters, we will be dealing with the matters that we are here for. And I really appreciate that you all came. You raised issues that are important. There's nothing that is irrelevant. But as I'm saying, there is always time, space for everything. And we would have time and we'll create space to engage with the issues that have been raised. Even those, some of these issues were raised by the team member who we are, inzima le nto. Siyabulela man. Thank you very much. Jimmy, sizodibana emva kwale nto. And I wish you everything of the best. I wish you success in your final. And then wish us success that we will come back, man. CDI, ikhosi alipheli mandla. Yes, remasele rona that. Remas. Let's really that. Can't.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. And please, after the Deputy Speaker, I will just make announcements that are very important for us as we will be providing support there. So it is our issues.
Thanks, Dr. Jongi. And let me also thank and welcome all the questions from the different media houses, which Speaker has already responded to most of them. Just 2 points. One, there's the issue that Untate Jimmy raises on the 30% policy of the legislature in terms of procurement for media houses, which I think on that Tuesday meeting, we will explain to the media houses how it works. But as a legislature, we do not have that policy. But in terms of procurement and how it's scaled, we would explain it in that regard. So I would not want the media houses living here with the understanding that there's a certain 30% allocation which is part of our policy in the legislature. It will, however, be elaborated on the Tuesday meeting. 2, there's a question that was not responded to, Speaker, on the youth celebration of the 30 years of our Constitution. And I want to thank you very much for that question. So you would know that 30 years ago, South Africa adopted its Constitution, and this is a historic milestone entrenched on democracy, equality, and human rights. we have through our public participation outreach programs that we have, and we actually had a discussion only yesterday, Ntate Jongi, that this is one milestone that as the legislature, through the outreach programs, we need to also celebrate that huge milestone. The country is currently preparing to commemorate the 3 decades of the Constitution. But we are also preparing ourselves for the national dialogue. You would remember that there was the first convergence that we had. Now, we need to celebrate both the 30 years of the Constitution and also prepare ourselves for that national dialogue. So, of course, legislature would have certain programs that are aligned to the 2 programs. Youth, of course, will lead in certain parts of those programs in educating our people on the 30 years of the Constitution, not only celebrating, but empowering our people with what the Constitution stands for, what is the Constitution, amendments that have been made thus far. So there will be such programs, and I think that should answer your question. But in the long run, of course, we will have all of these programs that through our communications team will serve to our public so that they know what programs we have for the year. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Abdi Jongi.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Just a few announcements. We have come to the end. I wish to request that we should note registration for the Sopa Media Accreditation link was closed yesterday. So one of the biggest problems that we have encountered in the past few days, there's such an emergence of new media during Sopa and budget votes. And I think the meeting of Tuesday will assist so that you can also help us. Because at times we can't say no when people say they are from the media. We don't know which media, but they are from the media. It also impacts on the security plans that we always present, because now we are always on the receiving end during the security planning meetings. Number 2, Auskeke, do they know you? The Auspulani from the Premier's office will be assisting in the coordination of your accreditations. And those accreditations are not transferable. And I know some of us here are very creative. Don't duplicate it, because otherwise we have been assured yesterday that if you are going to come with an accreditation that is duplicated, I won't say what these accreditation cards have. You won't see it. But you will have to go to Park Road Police Station with no questions and no answers. So please, it's for your own safety. Safety is not negotiable. We are also going to request to all the media houses that are going to need connection. The security cluster is going to do the final sweeping in the morning of the 10th, of the 20th at 6, I think, that am I really, if at 6. So if you need to do connections, or in fact, those that are bringing luggage, bags, and so on and so forth, we are encouraged either to bring those things a day before, there's 24-hour security there, or come before 6 o'clock. For those that will be there but would want IT support, the final connections and so on, the cutoff time is 8 o'clock. So I want us to please, colleagues, work together on this one. We have been requested by yourselves as well, that after the adjournment of the House, there is post-Sopa media briefing by the Premier. And en route from the plenary to the media station, there's about 5-6 media people that want to have one-on-one with the Premier. And it takes almost 20 minutes. And at the time you are waiting at the media center. Now, it creates a problem. We request that all requests regarding one-on-one with the Premier should be coordinated with Auspulani. But what we are going to do, immediately after the adjournment of the House, the Premier is going to be directed straight to the media room, which will be there, so that we avoid the problems that we have encountered in the past. Sorry, we will talk if it's an internal matter, because already this is what we have noted as a team. And then what we also have done is that because of the length of the interview with the Premier at the post-Sopa briefing, it takes almost an hour at times. And by the time you finish there's no food in the dining room. So we are going to arrange food in the media center, so that we don't encounter the problems. It's the same that will be given to the other guests. So let's no Luna live something speaker. Now there is always a concern when official photographs or the salute is taken. There is an influx yadi photographers. And remember, Jwalo ka Ntate Marwele has indicated, the national key point regulations applies. Only the demarcated zones. You can't encroach in that space unless you are an official photographer from the Premier's office and the legislature. And the official photographers that will be appointed by those two. Because the security people are saying they can make a distinction between the official photographers and non-official photographers. And it creates a problem because breach of security normally happens during that time. So we are going to request your cooperation. We are trying to find a designated area for you to do pictures, but please just remain organized to avoid the tensions that you normally encounter between yourselves and the so we are kindly requesting, or this should be adhered to at all costs. It looks like you wanted to raise something. Can you come up, please? The roving mic, please.
No, I think you captured it very well, Dr. Jonke. I think the issue that we were talking about is the issue of journalists taking MPs, wanting to have one-on-ones with them, which takes them time to get into the briefing area. And it delays the time for the Premier to join her guests in the luncheon. So we're asking media houses, give the list of MPs you want to interview. Mainly it will be your political parties and their leaders. Give them to Mepulani and Mekeke, so that after the post-Sopa Premier briefing, you can be able to have your one-on-ones after the Premier is done and everybody has captured what the Premier wanted to say. It's not only the one-on-ones with the Premier, it's with the MPs in particular. Thanks.
Please introduce yourself, madam.
Sorry. Kimasiriso Setai. I'm the head of communications for the provincial government of the Free State. Thanks.
Thank you. We all know you. If there's anything else, colleagues, let me thank you once again for coming. Please remember, we will send you reminders. The invitation, the open invitation for dialogue with the speaker on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Yeah, at 3 o'clock on Tuesday. But we will send you the reminders. And please, those who have not signed the attendance registers, please do so. As we engage outside, we will check whether the accreditation cards are ready so that we can start processing that. But please also advise us. To be honest, we always have an influx. Yeah, Batuba media, and we don't want tomorrow speaker ato the deputy speaker bato or no. We are marginalizing people because we really will need your support in that regard. Thank you very much. Let me invite you for light snacks, refreshments. I hope it's been delivered. Thank you very much, colleagues, and have a beautiful afternoon. And in fact, the other people who have been appointed outstanding by both institutions, tomorrow we must be part of the dry run, so that all the designated areas for official photos and they should be orientated. Thank you very much, colleagues. Have a wonderful day. See you on Friday.